How many people are online?
16.
Okay. And are they joining us? Like, can you see them?
Yeah, no, but they can see you very well
Okay.
right now.
Okay, guys. So thank you so much for joining the Google Hangout for Lisbon Challenge. My name is André. I'm the Lisbon Challenge Program Coordinator, and I'm here with Mariana, one of the um, one of the people from the staff and also startup analyst for Lisbon Challenge. What can we tell you about Lisbon Challenge? So Lisbon Challenge is a startup program, a startup accelerator that was born in Lisbon 2 years ago, and we are now currently on the second edition. So it's a 3 months program, and third edition will be starting September the 26th, and it will go for 3 months, it's from September 26th till December the 19th. It's a very intensive program, so it's a full-time program, and you're expected to Um, yeah, I think with some time delay here, but so we have some questions regarding the program, and we're going to try to use this Google Hangout to actually try to answer those questions. So the first question we have is, do you help with travel and living in Lisbon costs for the duration of the program? So this is actually one of the questions we get to hear quite a lot. And the short answer to that question is no, we don't. So what we do is we have a Lisbon Challenge partner page on Indiegogo, a crowdfunding platform through which startups can raise funds to help them support their stay in Lisbon, and usually help them set up a page on Indiegogo to help you come to Lisbon. Usually, we recommend to raise between 1,000 and 3,000 euros. Default raising value is 2,000 euros, if I'm not mistaken. And you can check out previous campaigns for Lisbon Challenge participants on Spring Edition on the back of the lisbonchallenge.com website. Also, teams that are selected to come to Lisbon have privileged access to our accommodation partners, including unique places to help them find the best place for their specific needs, and we also support them with bureaucratic procedures like visa and other processes that you might encounter coming to Portugal. So we have another question, which is, do you attract investors from the European Union and elsewhere? And this is also a question done by Fernando Berlim Travas from Fansnet Brazil. So yes, we actually attract investors from all European Union space. So if you care to go to Eventbrite and search for the Lisbon Investor Summit, which is the demo day that we're organizing for the Lisbon Challenge, we're bringing investors pretty much from everywhere in Europe. So we have, just to give you some names of the programming we have set up for July the 10th and July the 11th, which are the dates that will happen, that where the Lisbon Challenge investor days are going to happen. We have people from Spain, we have people from France, so we have, for instance, people from Wire Spain, people from Bertelsmann Digital Media Investments, Nauta Capital, IC1 Capital. We have a number of CEOs from Go Squared and Babel. We also have lots of people from European Union funds or European Young Innovators Forum. We'll have people from European Business Angels Network. And on July the 11th, we're going to have people from Caixa Capital, one of the leading VCs in Portugal, Portugal Ventures, of course, Connect Ventures, Index Ventures, GSV, Asset Management, 360 Capital Partners, and also Portuguese VCs or smaller VCs like Faber Ventures, and so on and so forth. But we also invite some people from Italy like H Farm, Factory Berlin, F6S, Angel List, Endeavor, and so on and so forth. So we really try to make a Lisbon Challenge has international. Would people be able to join us on this conversation, or not really?
Yeah. We post the link on the Lisbon Challenge page on Facebook.
Right. So they really need to do that. Okay. So I'm just going to write here on the chat that if they want to join the Google Hangouts, you guys can actually do that by joining this link that I'm going to share over over the chat on the Google Docs document here. So just join this Hangout. I share this with all the people that are now on the chat over the Google document. So the question, can we also share this link on YouTube page itself? Would that be possible?
It's the people can join the YouTube. They are YouTube, they are connected there right now. But they also have on the Lisbon Challenge page on Facebook that they can click on the link and they will be here with us. So.
Okay. So another question also from Fernando Berling is, can we find team members during the event? Yes, absolutely. That's one of the, I think the best value propositions of Lisbon Challenge is actually the fact that we have been able to help teams create we have been able to maybe if we just have the laptop just closer to us, it would really help if that is possible. Do you think so? Not really. Okay. So we might be able, what we do to help you find team members is we organize hackathons in our venue, and we organize helpathons and other events here. So we have been able to have several teams that were able to find their CTO or their development team or their designers team here in Portugal. So I guess that one of the teams is going to come on the conversation and join us. They are PharmAssistant, and they will also talk a little bit about that. Another question is, do you provide information on incorporating startups in Portugal, incentives, taxes, etc.? So we do provide some information. Actually, we have a number of mentorship sessions with lawyers and accounting agencies that will tell you how to incorporate in Portugal, what are your best options. We also have lots of connections with the Portuguese investment-based agency, with the Lisbon investment agency. So we do provide you the framework for you to understand what are the possibilities of investing in Lisbon. Actually, one of the startups here did a study themselves on the best cities to incorporate and to create a team, and they basically realized that Lisbon and Porto are the two best cities to develop an engineering and research and development team, and that's what we're going to do very, very soon. So, and lots of the teams from previous programs have actually incorporated in Portugal, or they have opened subsidiaries here as part of their long-term commitment to Portugal. So, yeah, I really cannot speak much further than this. Sorry for that. But we have another question, which is, if accepted, do we get travel expenses money for the trip to Lisbon? So I guess this question is quite close to the one that Fernando did. We don't provide any kind of help to try to finance your travel expenses to Lisbon, but what we can tell you is traveling to Lisbon, if you're traveling from Europe, you get most of the low costs flying to Lisbon. So if you book it in advance, it will probably be not that expensive. Also, finding a place to stay and renting a place to stay here is quite, it's fairly not, I would say it's a very, very fair deal. So you can have like a room for 250 euros, you can have a full flight for 500 euros. So it's fairly easy and cheap to find a place to stay. So that's basically that line. Another question is, can BetaE help to find local early adopters for customer developments through the Lisbon Community Mentor Network? Well, totally. I think that's one of the things we try to do is to provide you with beta clients for your product. So we do work with some of the best and biggest companies in Portugal. And one of the things that we're trying to do, and we have done in the past, is we have, sorry, let me just pass on this one. We have been able to help teams to have their very first clients in big corporate companies here in Portugal, including telecoms, utilities, etc. Especially because some of these companies are actually your sponsors of the program, so they have, in their best interest, they want to help you to be successful as well.
Oh, Ben is online, so.
Okay, sorry, I'm actually speaking a little bit faster than actually. So, okay, we have another question, so we might do a pause and hear what you have to say.
And we have also Dennis that will join us.
So, Dennis, are you there? Hi, Dennis.
Hello.
Hello. So I was trying to answer your question. I don't know if I was that successful regarding can BetaE help to find local early adopters for customer development through the Lisbon community?
Yeah, that helps that you have a network that can you can reach out and actually find somebody. Of course, customers are different. Some have enterprise customers, some are consumers. So, but I'm sure you have experience in all fields and help, different teams.
Yeah, we have we have an internal staff of people fully dedicated to helping teams of 5 instructors and 5 super mentors, and then we have almost 200 mentors that are coming into the program during the 3 months. So those 5 mentors and those 5 instructors, they will help you build a tailored plan for your own team, for your own strategy, to address whatever business development needs you might need. So let's say you are owner metric, right? Can you tell us what owner metric does?
Okay, it's a strategic dashboard for small company owners. So, everybody knows dashboards for large enterprises, but small company owners like restaurants and others don't really understand the value of KPIs, and we want to democratize this market for them. If it makes sense.
Yeah, makes total sense. So in your case, what the instructor that would be working with you, what he would do or she would do is try to set up the basic pipeline of business development that you'll be able to develop during your 3 months here in Portugal if you're interested in validating or developing your business here. Also, what kind of big companies you want to talk to, what kind of sponsors of the program you want to talk to. So actually I have here some of the sponsors. So we are sponsored by Portugal's biggest bank. So obviously the biggest bank works with every single small, medium business company here in Portugal. We're also sponsored by Portugal Telecom, which is Portugal's biggest telecom operator, and so on and so forth. So you get the idea of the kind of sponsors that you'll be talking to as well.
Thank you for the answers. Good to know.
Sure. Another question you have is, what are your selection criteria for phase 2 of the program? Historically, what's the conversion rate between phase 1 to phase 2? So I will let my colleague Mariana answer to that because she's a startups analyst and the person responsible for that.
Okay. So basically, we have 4 main criteria that are important to us, both for phase 1 and 2. So the team that composes your project, and all the experience and knowledge that you can prove you already have to execute, basically. Then the market, how much do you know your customers, how much do you know and have clear targets and have a relevant insights about your target markets, and also the dimension of the market that you are targeting. So if it has growth potential or not. Then also important to us, it's how differentiate. How different is your product? How innovative is your product? If you have an unfair advantage compared to other similar solutions, and traction is relevant as a proof of market, but it's not crucial. This is important because we have startups in different stages. So some startups have just started their prototype. Other startups are already generating revenue, and so traction is important, but it's not crucial. Okay, then what will be important to pass from phase 1 from phase 2? Of course, from phase 2, in phase 2, we know you much better because we are working with you for 3 months, and we can see your commitment to the program, your execution capacity, and you can have a much clearer perception of the potential of your startup. And we have different sources of data that you will be using during Lisbon Challenge to evaluate you. For example, our startups are now using Launchpad Central, which is basically a dashboard where they validate their business model canvas. And so we will pick information from that. You will have also the evaluation of your super mentor, your instructor. We will also evaluate your performance on the roadshow. And so basically that's what determines the 5 startups that will be selected for phase 2. Then we also have the investment criteria, and how much investment ready you are. It's another, probably the most important factor to pass to phase 2. You asked us also about what are the chances of getting into phase 2, and actually we don't have historical data because this is like it's the first time that we are doing phase 2. So basically, after knowing other accelerators, we came up with this hybrid program with a no equity phase and an equity phase, and so basically this will be new for the coalition. Have I answered your question?
Yeah, well, it's good to know, but still, is it 1 in 3 or is it 1 in 10, or you don't know?
It's 5 out of 30. So it's
okay. Okay, yeah. Thank you for the answer.
Great, good man. So we have Rita Cabral also doing this question. She's from Trade Easy, and she's asking, does the entire team must attend the entire time of the Lisbon Challenge? You know, I think this is really the $1 million question everybody's doing. Well, let's define entire team. If you have like 10 people, of course you don't need to bring the whole 10 people. But if you have 10 people, it's probably not at least not a normal startup. But if you have like, let's say 4 people, and you're based in Ukraine, okay, you might want to bring the 4th to Portugal. If you are 4 people and you want to do the program, I strongly recommend that the entire 4 people does the program. Because if you are a startup, the coupling out of people and letting some people be here, some people of the startup be there, you'll end up having difficulties keeping all at the same pace, and that creates communication issues inside the startup. So I strongly recommend that the entire team, up to 4 people, comes to Lisbon Challenge. and we do have a minimum of 2 people to do the program full time. We have been quite liberal in the way we allow this or we enforce this, but we want to make sure that the amount of people and the enrollment into the program is much stricter than we have been in the past. So I guess that you will be when you choose to go with a certain number of people, let's say 2, 3, or 4. You stick with that number, and those people do the program from day 0 till day 90 of the program. So what's the average amount of time per day, week, that the team members need to be at the Lisbon Challenge purposes? And this is a question from Frederico Roldão from Invito. It's actually funny that these questions are being made by Portuguese startups, because the fact that they are from Portugal, or especially if they are from Lisbon, they would probably have offices in Lisbon somewhere else. So if you see Lisbon Challenge as something that you go and you attend to, and then you go back to your regular office, I think you're basically not understanding the point of the accelerator program. This is supposed to be your living ground for 3 months. So you can't say, Mom, I'm going to jail for 3 months, and I'm going to be there for those 90 days. So during 90 days, I'm expected to work the hell out of me, and I'm expecting to do as much as I possibly can. So forget about your home office, forget about your regular stuff, because during those 90 days, this is going to be really intense. Yeah, some weeks are very intense, so it's almost 24 hours on 24. Other weeks are much lighter, so you might have 4 or 5 mentor-speaker engagements, so it gets 4 or 5 hours of accumulated teamwork, whatever work you have here, and then you can pretty much use the rest of the time to manage your own startup the way you want it to be. But you're expected to work at the venue of the challenge, that is the venue where Diogo and Sofia are right now. So yeah, I think that's basically the way we see the program in self-dependence. Then we have another question, which is, all right, T, does Portugal have Startup Visa Act like Canada or UK or something similar in place to allow for seamless startup growth and talent recruitment, among other such benefits? So we, as an NGO, PTI, we are working really hard to convince the Portuguese government to launch Startup Visa. The reality, or the historical reality, is that, believe it or not, it's fairly easy to get a visa and work in Portugal, even if you are, non-European Union country. So we have a bunch of startups from Ukraine, from Brazil, from the US, from other countries that acquire a visa, and because they are doing intellectual IT work, the visa people or the foreign office is not very picky, and they're allowed to stay, and usually they can have easy life here without having visa issues. Of course, that we're working to make the situation even better, but no startup visa as such as of now. Yeah, I asked the previous question because I need time for sales. We're already selling our product, and I need time to be out of meeting clients. So this is another question by Frederico Roldão. Yeah, I understand that why do you need time? Usually this is why people ask us for time, is for business development. Yeah, totally. You'll have lots of time for business development, okay? But guess what? 50% of your time will be for workshops, lectures, mentorship. So, and the other 50% of the time can be for something else. So let's say you have 3 people on your team, and they're all doing Lisbon Challenge. And you can basically juggle those 3 people along the several things you're doing here. So if you are more into business development, then you can be more outside the building while you have someone doing the mentorship and you have someone doing the lecture or the workshop. and then you guys can, can exchange and switch positions once in a while, so that you have more have a more balanced structure, and you don't specialize just in business development. This answers your question, but I've never had any team saying, "Oh, we don't have time for business development." Usually it's the opposite. Usually it's us instructors saying, "Why haven't you been able to talk to more people?" And the answer is not, "I haven't had the time." The answer is always, I wasn't able to, find that person or meet up with that person or whatever the reason is. But it's not, I didn't have time to meet that person. So Saranyara from Flux Band also asks, what are the various resources we probably would have access to? I mean, something in the vicinity of labs, talent pool, manufacturing hubs, etc. So, very interesting question, actually. The basic value proposition of the program is the mentors, the venue, the whole office space with the co-working, with the gigabit internet Wi-Fi connection, with the atmosphere, the central Lisbon location, etc., and so on and so forth, and the 150,000 euros in perks from Amazon Web Services, Google, Lunar Cloud, and so on and so forth. You can check them out on the website at the perks section. But your question is regarding things like 3D labs, manufacturing hubs, etc. So just to tell you, next week we're going to pay a visit to the Lisbon Factory Labs. Their name is actually, let me just check here. It's the Lisbon, Fab Lab Lisbon, Fab Lab Lisboa. So check their latest tools, 3D printers, hardware making techniques. So they have a huge space here in the center of Lisbon as well. We're going to Microsoft tomorrow, and we have a fairly good network of things going on around the city of Lisbon, including factories, etc. I guess if you're doing this question, you're probably into something hardware. So historically speaking, we have had like 15 to 20% startups are hardware and the rest are software. So software startups usually don't care anything about manufacturing hubs, etc., or labs. They don't care. They couldn't care less about it. But hardware startups, they do. So for the hardware startups, we try to make a tailor-made program that allows them to go and visit these centers, to talk with these people, to talk with industrial designers, to talk with electronic designers, PCB designers, and we do kind of tailor-made roadmap for them. In terms of the talent pool, we have visits from the leading technical universities that they actually come here to the venue and they bring their students. So it's a great way to access and cross-pollinate the talent of those universities into the teams that are doing the program. So I hope this answers your question.
So we have more questions.
So if we have more questions, just let me know. So I'll answer another question from Saranyare, also from Fluxpan. So you say, this is kind of specific. How good a fit is a program for a hardware startup? There we go, you are hardware. Though there's a ton of software leveraging, but still with a hardware core. Are there any successful hardware startups from previous cohorts of the program? That should be amazing. So the answer to previous hardware startups, I think I've given to you. It's like between 15 to 20% are hardware. We have from the very first edition, the 2013 edition, we had several hardware startups. I guess the most successful one was actually a hardware startup from Brazil, Portugal, that is building a power engine to renewable energies, and they have been invested. They have been able to actually build their factory very recently, and they're now selling to Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arab Emirates, to Brazil, and other locations in Europe. So they have been quite successful in the last 6 months after the program. We have now 5 startups in the current batch of 30 startups that are hardware. So one of them is, of course, PharmAssistant. They're also online here. So I suggest we allow PharmAssistant to answer this question themselves.
Hello, my name is Diogo and this is Sofia, and we are from PharmAssistant. So I would like to answer your question about the hardware. We are a hardware company, startup, and Lisbon Challenge was very nice for us because from the beginning we have been accelerated, first in the team side, in team building, then in the product side. For instance, André introduced us to a lot of different players in Portugal that actually manufacture hardware like PCBs and other kind of stuff. And it's a really good place to be, even if you are hardware, because you have a lot of mentors that are specialized on this space, and you give a lot of important feedback on that. So this is really an accelerating program. For instance, if you are to fail, you will fail faster, and if you are to succeed, the success will come even before you notice. So it's really an acceleration program from day one. You need to be very focused. You need to come to meetings with mentors, with potential investors. They will introduce you to a lot of these people, but you really need to get the best out of the program, because if you don't work, if you don't attend the meetings, then you will miss like great opportunities. And I think basically this is it. If you want to add something, Sophia?
Yeah, I guess I can say that we started, I think, 2 months ago, pretty much with an idea. And since then, we have the minimum viable product. We had the demo day. We are currently working on our prototype. And during Lisbon Challenge, you want to talk a little bit about all the investments that we have
put on time. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we are close to securing our first investment, and we are not even on the demo day yet. And as you can notice, we are here doing this hangout, but our designer is on the back, just working on our pitch deck. This is João, because it's a really intense program. You need to work almost like every day, every hour. So you need to really be focused. And we had this opportunity to get an investment before the demo day. We are now closing it, but we keep working. The investment is not the end of anything. It's actually the beginning of your development, of your product, of your company, and you need to feel from the first day that you need to be focused and dedicated.
And during Lisbon Challenge, you want to talk a little bit about all the investments that we have.
That was a question for us. I didn't listen.
Question. So let me just follow on to the next question. So next question is from M. Correia in Portugal. What?
We have another.
We do have another guest online.
Yeah.
So sorry about the question here, but I can't manage to find the link. So I guess this is a practical question. So the link regarding the Google Hangout is there on the Google documents. So just go to the Lisbon Challenge 414 Q&A form and have 2 links there. One is the YouTube, just to follow on the conversation, and you also have the Google Hangout to join the Hangout and join this conversation. So welcome to Gianpaolo Ferradini. Join us now, and let's continue. So,
hi there. That's actually me.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the Hangout earlier, so I wrote it on the thing, but here I am.
Do you have any questions, Gianpaolo?
Yeah, actually, I was wondering if the program would be still suitable for a project that doesn't have the technical abilities yet to develop. I mean, I've had a lot of exposure into designing softwares, but I do not have any programming ability. And actually, the problem that I've had so far, the biggest problem that I've had so far, was exactly sourcing. So finding the right, the right people to develop. And I was wondering if you believe that your program could help me on that.
Yeah. So, it's how many people do you have in your team?
Well, right now I'm actually working alone, and I have a guy that has been supporting me in creating a couple of mock-ups.
Okay, Pablo, we allowed a minimum of 2 people into the program. So if you can convince that guy to come with you to Lisbon, to fly with you to Lisbon, that's fine. So minimum 2 people, okay, because it's very lonely to be alone.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And from our experience, every single project where we have a solo entrepreneur has never worked so far. Never ever, has never happened. And we have accelerated over 300 projects so far because we're not just doing Lisbon Challenge, we have done Beta Start in the past and other accelerators. And every single time we have had a solo entrepreneur, it never works out, never, because the very first sale you're doing is to your co-founder. So that's the sale you have to do before you get into an accelerator, unless that accelerator provides for a space for you to meet co-founders, which is not the case of Lisbon Challenge. Okay? So if you convince someone else to come with you and you say that specifically on your application that you have at least 2 people that are willing to go to Lisbon, then yes, it doesn't matter if you have technical background or not. We've actually had lots of teams that were able to convince technical people to join their teams. Okay.
Okay, perfect. One other thing. This guy might have some technical issues for himself, so he might not be able to attend a full 3 months period. Would that be an issue or not?
Look, ideally, it would be he would be required to stay here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Practical world doesn't always work as we like it to be, but we have to see Lisbon Challenge, as I see it, is really a full-time, full commitment program. Mm-hmm. So if the entire team is not doing the program at the same time for the full span of the program, it never works out so well as it does for teams where the full team is here full-time and they're all doing the mentorship sessions, they're all going to the lectures, they're all doing the program at the same time in sync. And you always see the difference. You have always been able to see the difference. I think PharmAssistant, those guys are there. They have been able to be here. The 3 of them is actually Diogo, Sofia, and also João. So, Diogo, do you want to take any notes on what João Paulo is asking?
André, sorry, we didn't hear the question because there's a session about to begin. But can you please ask the question again?
Does it pay off to be with the entire team the full time of the program?
Yeah, of course, because it's a very intense program and it's like an acceleration program once again, and you really need to be like focused 100%. And it's actually very good for team building. When we came here, we were not as used to each other like work as we are now. So it's really beneficial if you get your whole team to Lisbon, if you are all working together like for as much time as you can. And this is also a proof for your team in the future, because if you can survive an acceleration program of 3 months, probably you will survive a lot more probably in the future when you have a company, when you have like a real product and something to sell.
And besides that, it's really useful that you are here because you are in an environment with a lot of people with a lot of knowledge. So it's really helpful for you to be here and to talk with everyone on the startups. You will learn a lot. And for instance, we had the help of an engineer of another team with us. So it's really helpful to be here, actually.
Okay.
But let me just clarify something to you. So we have people here with 2 team members or 3 team members, and it happens that 1 team member has to go away for 1 week or 2 weeks to deal with company issues or personal issues or whatever, and of course we are flexible with that. So if that's the case, it's okay. If the case is that your co-founder can only be here for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that's a different.
Yeah, totally.
We are flexible.
So we have another question here, which is, imagine we get to phase 2, and is it mandatory that we accept the capital investment in equity exchange, or can we take advantage of phase 2 without accepting investors? Guys, there's no space for everything in life, right? You have to make compromises, but I will let Mariana will answer this.
Okay. So basically, before you are accepted into the program and you actually enroll the program, you will be asked to sign a side letter in a subscription agreement from Cedars, in which you will make a contract with us that if you are selected to be one of the 5 top teams of the program, you will receive an investment in exchange for equity. And so the first answer will be probably no.
Yeah, it's definitely no, right? Because if you're signing investment letter saying that once you get accepted to phase 1, it basically means that if you are one of the 5 or 6 teams to be accepted into phase 2, then you accept the agreement that you're taking some equity, we're giving away some equity between 6 to 10% in exchange of 40,000 euros. The question we have here is so do you suggest that we have something around 2,000 to 3,000 euros for the 3 months in Lisbon Challenge? And yeah, that's exactly the amount we suggest. I mean, per person, we suggest you live with at least 750 euros per month in Lisbon, if it's possible, okay? If you have a team of 3 people doing the program for 3 months, it basically gives out around 2,000 euros per month, you know, for the 3 of you guys. So you have to have anything between 5 to 7K for 3 team members for the 3 months. So that's the amount we. We also have a kitchen in our premises, so you can go to the supermarket and you can do your food here. You don't have to go into the restaurant every single day. Yeah, I got your question about your suggestion. So you don't have to go to the supermarket. You can go to the supermarket. You don't have to go to the restaurant. You can eat here. That's what actually most teams are doing. It's also great to keep your weight, to keep your belly line, because you'll probably lose 2-3 kilos during the program and get thinner. So I'm working on a project where I'm lacking. Yeah, I got it, but I'm okay? Or you guys going? You have to go. Okay. So PharmAssistant, I would ask you guys to do a very quick workaround or a tour of the space, so that John Paulo and Dennis and other people joining us can actually have a perspective of what the venue looks like. Although, and this is not a disclaimer, it's just to tell you that the venue that we're going to have for the fall edition is going to be a different one, but we hope to be as good or even better than this one.
Okay, so now it's starting a session, so we need to move out. But this is actually where the magic happens, when you got our sessions, our courses. And this is actually the space. I cannot have a clear look of how it looks in the computer because I'm walking at the same time. But this is pretty much the co-working space that we get, that each startup gets to work. And that they also have like meeting rooms. So if you need to meet with a potential customer, I know that customers and contacts with customers. It's actually really easy to get European customers when you are in Lisbon, because there are a lot of people coming here and to give us some mentoring sessions, to do some networking. And you can have the meetings here in.
Okay, I think it was a good perspective of what it feels like to walk around at the venue. So we have another question from Tiago. So Tiago is from Tangify app, Portugal, and Tiago is asking, I have a team of 10 people, but just 2 of us will be working full-time. All others are working part-time. If Lisbon Challenge choose our company to participate, can the part-time employees participate in your workshops? You know, yeah, sure. I mean, you can have 2 people doing the program full-time, and then you can say, okay, but we are a team of, let's say, 10 people, and people X, Y, and Z are coming to go to lectures A, B, and C. That's fine. We just need to know who those people are, because here at Lisbon Challenge we are batched at all times, so team members need to be batched so we know who they are. Okay, so we have other 2 people coming in, and that's great. That's Sebastian Gonzalez and Saranaya. Sorry, not being able to pronounce your name so well, but I guess you can present yourself. Do you have any questions, Saranaya?
Hi there. My name is Saniraj Rajendran, and I'm from LA, and we're working on a project called FluxPan. Yeah, I had like 3 other questions right there. The first thing would be, how much of a good fit is Lisbon Challenge for a hardware startup? And do we have any like successful hardware startups from way back when?
Yeah. Okay. So I actually answered your questions before, but I'll
my bad. There's a connection problem here, though.
That's fine. Where are you from?
Oh, LA, Los Angeles, US.
Okay. And yeah. Okay. So I'll just be very briefly answering one of your questions. Then you can check out the Hangout video that will be available over YouTube. The question is regarding hardware startups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so PharmAssistant is a hardware startup, and they answer that question. So to summarize to you, we do provide for specific means for hardware startups to develop their roadmap here. What kind of hardware are you doing?
We are building a wearable. Right now, the pivot is just for the kids, though. It's an environmental sensing wearable that can like send real-time notification on probably like air pollution, like UV exposure. We are like doing customer validation within like few days right now, and we have like investor meeting set up for for the 4th of July. We're going down to Silicon Valley and meeting a couple of people there, so we get like seed round of funding. So yeah, it's pretty much available.
Why are you guys switching Silicon Valley for Lisbon?
Sorry?
Why are you willing to switch California for Lisbon?
That's a good question, though, right? I guess it mostly comes down to the talent acquisition right now, and we want like kind of internationalize ourselves. And like, right me, do I make sense? But thing is that like starting California, or rather Silicon Valley, we had like really hard break of tech bubble, right? Even like my here in University UC, all it comes down to is software or app. So even if I'm an electrical engineer, there's like, no, dude, if you're doing startup, just go for an app or possibly do enterprise software. But hardware-wise, there's still like a lot of kind of the barrier right there. Pebble and Booster are good examples, but they are just exceptions, though, right? So going outside here, like way better.
Okay, yeah, I think Lisbon and Portugal are definitely a good place to start up hardware companies. But I will let PharmAssistant talk a little bit about their experience, maybe from a different angle. Diogo, what do you feel Lisbon is a good place to start a hardware startup in terms of the talent acquisition, to develop hardware and the PCBs and the electronics and industrial design, that kind of stuff?
Well, regarding to talent acquisition, is really a good place because you have a lot of good engineering universities here in Portugal. For instance, Técnico is a very good engineering university, and the payroll here is definitely lower than the US or the UK. So it should be good for talent acquisition. If you have like the right team, you can do really impressive stuff here in Lisbon. We have some manufacturing companies as well for PCBs, for electronics. We have like a lot of companies for plastic molds. So you can do good actually in Portugal. If your main concern is only talent acquisition, yeah, it's a nice place to be because we have a lot of engineers coming out of the universities. So you just have to do the right things to capture that talent and bring it to your startup.
Okay.
Would you guys be? Oh, I just have one more question though. Follow up, or I can ask them via mail. Would do that trick?
Go on.
Oh yeah. So how about rapid prototyping and like China, getting China ready? Is it like something you guys looking into?
Okay, getting China ready. So that's a very good question. Have you applied to Highway 1 Accelerator?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Actually, we did have an interview with Highway 1 yesterday. Just full discussion. Yeah, we did have a video interview. Like applied to that, and we're like open to every other option. So we are hustling a lot. So we have engineering review interview again like next week, and possibly one more interview. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Highway 1, their tagline is really get China ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get China ready, I would say an accelerator like Highway 1 is probably the way to go. The way, for instance, PharmAssistant is doing their hardware products is working with local Portuguese manufacturer companies right now and developing their prototypes here before they get China ready. I guess when they go big time, big line of production, they might want to go to China. Diogo, do you have any specific strategy to manufacture in China right now? And even about the plastics, have you started to engage with local molding companies like companies in Marinha Grande here in Portugal? Have you done that so far, or what's your perspective on that?
Well, my view is that before you get China ready, you definitely need to do a prototype and see if it works for your solution and test it with users. And we are on that stage. We are not yet China ready. I think it's not a good idea to do a prototype in a place like China or Taiwan just because it's far, and it's far for you to get there, to get the product, to test it. So maybe it's better if you produce it locally, the prototype, and then test it, do any changes that you need to do before like producing 1,000. Because if you are producing 1,000 or 10,000 or 1,000,000, of course Asia is the right place to go. But before you go to Asia, you need to test a lot, you need to develop a lot your product, and I think Portugal is one of the good places that you have to do that.
Yeah, I will just add to that is that there is maybe a misconception regarding hardware startups, which is one thing that one of the founders of Highway 1 told in his recently interview to Wired magazine is that you cannot apply the minimum viable product concepts of software to hardware, because if you basically don't do a good product, the very first product, you don't have a second chance, right? You don't have a second chance on hardware. If you screw it, you screw it, and that's why the name is Screw It, right? Because it's about the right screw in the right place, or you're just done. So regarding hardware, the main point here is I think Lisbon Challenge is a great place if you want to validate your business assumptions before you want to go full-time into your hardware. So for one of the startups that we have here, or that is considering to apply is a smart anti-shoplifting tag. Okay, smart anti-shoplifting tag. And from the hardware perspective, they have a number of assumptions, which will not be able to fit the marketing or the business value proposition if they don't develop actually a business that actually fits the tag. So in order for you to develop a tag that will eventually cost $5 or $6 per tag, and you want to have like $500,000 or 1 or 2 million euros or dollars to start with, to make sure that there is actually a business out of there that you can build so that you can go through the tags afterwards. So I guess Lisbon Challenge is a good program before going to Highway 1 if you are a hardware startup. In the case of PharmAssistant, they're doing a little bit different, which is they're now doing Lisbon Challenge. They have been accepted into the Berlin Buyer Accelerator. Sorry, Diogo, I don't think I'm disclosing anything right now because we have told that a number of times already. And that's the second accelerator. And eventually, they will or they might want to do a third accelerator just for the hardware part. So, you know, if you are hardware, I would say make sure you have a business, then go and specialize on whatever niche market you are doing, and then third part, go for the hardware accelerator.
I guess like that's exactly what we're looking for. We right now in extreme like prototyping and testing phase, and this was like Highway 1 right now. We did have interview and like kind of felt like a wrong fit, especially given the time frame. So yeah, that kind of like answers perfect question though. Thanks a lot though.
Thanks a lot for the question. Actually, very good. We also have here someone doing some questions on Facebook, on the YouTube channel, sorry. And the question is from Ricardo Coelho. So Ricardo is saying we have a product which is business to business, and we need to make some customizations for our product work in the European market. BetaE could help us in some technical information to supply chain management field. Sure, again, we have a very, very big network. So we have 200 mentors that are coming into the program, but I would say the BetaE network is over 20,000 people, okay? So 20,000 people that we reach directly through our closed network, working in Europeans leading distribution channels, Portugal biggest retailers, Portugal biggest companies. Some of our sponsors are some of the biggest companies in Portugal and in Europe. So keep in mind, our sponsors want you to be successful. Because if you are successful, then they are also successful. And of course, we, the instructors, we, the organizers, we also want you to be successful. So we will work really, really hard for you to access the best network possible. And we will try to do a tailor-made network for you in order for you to achieve. And I think, you know, Diogo can also attest for that, because we have been able to open quite a few doors in terms of retail, in terms of manufacturing, etc., etc. Can you just give us an example of some of the networking that we have done for you, Diogo?
Yeah, sure. Regarding the hardware part, we met with some engineers that André suggested to meet that are able to do our prototype here in Portugal before we go to Berlin, to the next stage of the company. We have been engaged with a lot of mentors, for instance, an American mentor, John Gale, which was like very valuable for us to define our business model. So business-wise, Lisbon Challenge is very good, but it gives a lot of like feedback for you from a lot of different sources. And more networking, well, we met with a lot of investors. It was really good. It was really good. It was really good contacts. We got a lot of media exposure, which is good for you to have people reach to you and say, okay, let's do a partnership. Let's meet. Let's be partners, like distributors, whatever. So it has a really good experience regarding networking for sure.
Okay, yeah. So I guess that answers your question to Rui Coelho. Then we have another question, which is, if you had to give a percentage, how much of the program will actually be trainings, and how much we can expect to be directly progressing our projects? Okay, good question. So it depends how you see training. So if you include mentorship and trainings, or just mentorship and then trainings or something else. So I consider mentorship, and I consider trainings things like workshops, lectures, and that kind of stuff. So this is something that we focus a lot. So mentorships will occupy about 20% of your time, and lectures will occupy 15 to 20% of your time. So like I told you just before, the whole curricular part of the program occupies 50%. So expect 50% of your 8-hour day to be occupied with lectures, mentors, workshops, and then the extra 4 hours on average to be for your team. During the program, teams, on average, successful teams work 12 hours per day, 6 days per week, and they rest on Sundays. We also have physical training programs. We also have a military leadership bootcamp, and we expect you to do this, okay? So this is as much part of the program as a mentorship, has any intellectual activity. Doing physical workouts, making sure you are body and mind is really important, so that you keep up the pace for the entire three months of the program. I don't know if you want to add something to that, Diogo.
Sorry, I was getting the mic. Well, regarding to your schedule here, you really need to be focused. You need to attend what you have to attend. You need to develop what you have to develop. So the program is intense, but your team should be able to distribute your time as efficiently as possible. So if you have to do some customer interviews outside of the premises, you should do it on a day that has a specific agenda that is not so interesting for you, or you should do when you don't have any sessions at all. Then you have the mentoring sessions where you really need to be, and it's not optional. These guys have a lot of experience, a lot of insights to give you, so you really need to be here on those times. Then you have your instructors meeting, which is also very valuable. So you really need to do like you would do in the future on our company, in your company. You need to distribute the time efficiently and like take the best of your team. You can divide yourselves, one member to here, one member to there. If you need to be in two places at the same time, you need to distribute tasks like you will do in your future life. So it's pretty much a boot camp for when you are a CEO or COO or whatever you're gonna be.
Yeah, thanks for that. Really good. They should hire you to manage the program next edition. So we have another question here, which is from Fernando Berlin, which is, can I go to Lisbon and if selected and find a CTO candidate in the first few days and dare to fill in the minimum 2 members team? So again, I think if you're just proposing yourself to come alone, that will only happen if other teams are really not as good as yours, because I would say that teams that have 2 or 3 people have much better chances of being accepted and enrolling into the program. But it has happened in the past. We do have some teams that they began with just 1 people, and they promised that they would eventually hire their CTO, blah blah blah. You know, it didn't happen. So I'm kind of skeptical about that proposition. Then you have another question, which is, what are the 44,000 euros for? Are they for further development of the MVP, marketing, getting more staff? You know, 44,000 euros gives you some money, but it's basically for product development, right? It doesn't give you money for marketing, usually. It might give you money for marketing if you are already a technical team, but then you might want to use that money to pay something like salaries for yourselves to sustain you guys for some months or 6 months or something like that. 40,000 euros in Lisbon allows you to sustain a two people team for at least 1 year. All right. It would cost you like 20K per member to live in Lisbon and pay the bills of your family if you are a normal person. The question, also another question from Fernando is, yeah, I think that was it. Then Jan Wittman from Holland has another question. Congratulations on your World Cup. It's going really well. So from the 44K, how much can we use for personal costs? Is there a limit? No, the money is yours. I mean, if you get the 44,000 euros on the phase 2, you can what?
It's not like that.
Okay, so
basically, you will be working close to us. So we will have like we will have a team that will manage the 5 startups, and we will approach these like almost as portfolio management. And so we have a reputation as an organization, and we have raised money from several investors that trust us, that trust the program, and trust you, and they will be investing in you. And so we will. It's not our money, but we will make sure that you are making wise decisions regarding how to apply it.
Yeah, that's also what I'm
but it's your survival money, of course. Surviving as a startup.
Yeah, like having an investor is like having a boss sometimes. So it's a pain in the neck. Another question is, if you are interested, here is my LinkedIn profile. Okay, that was not a question. So, but I thank you to Fernando. And we have someone else that joined us, Sebastian Gonzalez. Sebastian, do you have any questions? I think you have to put on the mic.
Hello.
Hi, Sebastian.
Hi, I'm Sebastian Gonzalez. I'm from Teacher Now. And here we have a question. If we get selected on Lisbon, there's a way to help us find a place to stay?
We have.
No, go on.
We have a partnership with some
unique places,
yeah, unique places and on the city. They provide rental rooms or apartments for you to stay, and we have a close relationship with them. Unique Places was actually one of the startups in our first edition. And so basically, that's how we can facilitate your accommodation here in Lisbon.
Do you have any other questions?
I have another question. How many teams do you set on this Lisbon Challenge?
Okay, we accept 30 teams.
How much?
30.
Oh, 30.
Yeah, 30.
Nice. Oh, that's it. Thank you.
We accept 30 teams for the phase 1, and then we allow up to 6 to go to phase 2. Okay? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Other question?
No more questions. Thanks.
Can I ask you one little detail? You mentioned earlier about the sort of military training program. What happens if you have some sort of disabilities? Because I have like a physical limitation and I can only basically walk. I cannot run nor exercise? Because I have a...
If you have physical disability, of course you're not forced to do that meditation. But we might arrange some kind of alternative with them.
Okay. Okay, because I would actually love getting the insights that come from that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. I think we have another question over there, Rafael, which was on the thread.
Dennis.
So Dennis, do you have a question?
I have a quick question. You have a beautiful poster behind you that says New York and São Paulo and London. How does it work? What are those investor days? How do you get there? Just can you give a little details, please?
Good question. I think it's also a good way to wrap up a little bit of what we're doing. So at the end of phase one, at the end of the 3 months, we do the international roadshow. So next week we're starting with the Lisbon Investors Roadshow. So the Lisbon Investors Summit is going to be the start of the international roadshow. We're going to start in Lisbon, obviously. It's going to be a very exciting 2 days of international investors coming to Lisbon, and we give the opportunity for the 30 teams to pitch their startups to those investors here in Lisbon. Then what we do is we select top 10 teams, and we give the chance to those top 10 teams to go to London and to São Paulo in the fall edition. We're going to San Francisco in the spring edition to go there and speak with local investors in those 2 regions, so London and San Francisco, and the case of the fall edition in São Paulo in Brazil. So what happens in international investors? So it's a full week in London, which is going to start for the spring edition from the 23rd to 26th, and then it's a full week in San Francisco, which is going to happen in the 2nd week of September. What happens during those weeks? So you'll go to local startups, you'll go to local investors, you'll go to local events, you'll meet the local startup community there. But most interestingly, we organize local investor days. So the Lisbon Investor Day, the July 11th, and the London Investor Day is July the 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. And then the San Francisco Investor Day will be September 7 or 8, okay? So what you're going to do there is basically have the chance to pitch your startup to local investors and eventually be invested in those locations, or do business development, or be able to open shop there, or just get to know the local ecosystem if nothing else happens. Is this enough, or do you want me to be more specific?
No, that's enough. That's very interesting as well. As a perspective of participating in Lisbon Challenge. I just posted a small question on the side. So do you actually help to get to those places? Because it's, financially it's quite a lot of money. It's probably about 10K to travel there for those 10 teams.
Yeah, I mean, we actually pay the tickets to go to San Francisco, the plane tickets, and that's it. For London, from Lisbon to London, you can get your ticket for 50 euros or something like that. So it's usually quite cheap if you have a low-cost flight from Lisbon to London. And staying in London, what happens is that we recommend the startups to rent an apartment together or with friends, so they lower costs, and it becomes much cheaper and much funnier actually to stay in those places. For San Francisco, we're actually covering the flight, so you don't have to pay the flight from Lisbon to San Francisco, just a fraction of the flight, which is the airport fees, like 50 euros per flight.
Great, something to look forward to.
Just to give you an idea, for instance, we are also organizing a similar week like this in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and a similar week like this in Israel, it's costing us per team $2,500 US for 5 days. So this is how much this local Israeli company is charging Beta E per team, $2,500 per team. Sorry, per person, right? So what we're saying is we are organizing all this for you. You don't have to pay any single cent. Only pay for the trips yourself and the accommodation in those countries, because all the rest we are going to provide you. The entries to the places, the local investor day, the local ecosystem entry points, etc., etc., etc. That's included in the package. So you just have to pay for either part of the trip and your stay at the local, London, San Francisco, or São Paulo. Okay, so if anyone has like a last question, I think we can go for a last question. Actually, we have another one here from Tiago. So they say, we've applied to Lisbon Challenge and now we are obviously expecting to hear from you. We have provided a 1-minute video demo of our product. My doubt is if you have a final interview with the founders, members of the team in order to explain better the product, or if we just have to wait for your final answer. So I will let Mariana answer this one.
Okay, so you will be notified, at least the teams that applied until the 30th of June will be notified on the week of July 14 about what's next. And for those of you that pass to the next phase, you will go through 2 Skype interviews, one with an internal evaluator from BetaE and one with an external expert from our network. And after that, we will make the final decision if you get in or not. For those that apply until only in the second deadline, so from July 1st to July the 20th, you will be notified probably 1 week after what's next for you.
Okay, is this a good answer, Tiago? I don't think you are there, or at least not on a Hangout. So if you are listening to us, just answer, just put the note here on the Google form. So we have another question from Saranaya. I guess that for the accommodation, you can always fall back on couchsurfing.org, which is pretty awesome and lets you stay for free. Yes, that's true. You're free to do whatever you feel like it, and couchsurfing is definitely a possibility. I just have a comment here from M. Correa, which is, I've seen many questions about why choosing Lisbon, and I should like to add something to that answer. Lisbon is a very good geostrategic position. You have many kinds of manufacturing companies locally. And remember that you are in a special position to visit every part of Europe, customers and producers, in a matter of few hours. In the same day, you can go to any country in Europe and come back. Best regards. Yeah, I think that's kind of true. You're not as central as you'd be, let's say, for instance, in Belgium or in a Central European country, but you have low costs to pretty much everywhere in Western Europe, and it can definitely go to London and come back in the very same day, or go to Paris and come back in the very same day. Of course, you're very close to Spain, Madrid. It's also a good place if you want to establish connections to the east coast of the United States or with Brazil, because of course in Brazil we also speak the same language, and yeah, that's definitely true. So, quick question from Saranaya. Go on.
I could just probably talk though. How flexible is that program with outside investment? Let's say we go like get an angel or seed funding for 50K just to start prototyping, and would it like kind of affect with the equity of the program?
Can you please repeat that question?
Yeah, that's all right. That's pretty neat though. I'm just wondering, it's like how flexible is the program with like outside funding? Let's say like we kind of trying to list seed funding for prototyping and customer validation, and if we have the funding, would it kind of affect our chances with the challenge or the equity or the some kind of logistics? I'm not sure though. And this feedback.
We are having some trouble understanding what you're saying. Are you asking about the possibility of getting investment during the program?
Wait, let me just do it again. I'm so sorry. Okay, one of my questions is like the flexibility of program with outside funding.
Okay. So
more so with like raising seed and angel funding, and would it like affect the equity thing with the challenge, or would it have any influence at all?
No. We don't have so far any restrictions in regards to you receiving funding from outside investors. What we do have is that if you enter the program, you have previously signed a contract that says that in the end of 3 months you will receive an investment from us. So if that's okay with you and with your external investor, that's okay with us. I don't know if that was your question. No.
I guess that's pretty much all right though. Thanks a lot.
Sorry, but if you can, you just write me by email, or we book a Skype call and
sure.
We'll talk about
just
it.
Send us either write it there on the chat or send us over email, and we'll try to answer to it, because I don't think you are fully happy with our answer. We have another question from Sebastian, and Sebastian is asking, are there mentors to help us with legal stuff of the startup, like patents or legal terms of joining the application? So regarding the patents, yes, totally. We have had patent experts, legal and also engineering experts to come and help the team. So Diogo, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience regarding the patent application, and how did the experts that are within Lisbon Challenge help you out for that?
Yes, we met our patent consultant, or in intellectual property consultant here in Beta I during another program that we made, Beta Start, and these are really like nice people, experts in this kind of stuff, and they really give you like very nice advices. Also, if you're coming from outside, maybe it's a good idea for you to file your patent here in Portugal, because it's cheaper. You have like great consultants for a cheaper price, and also with legal stuff, we have some advisors here that are specialized in startups, like term sheets, investment, and intellectual property as well. So you have a pool of experts that you can pretty much ask whatever you like about your business.
Yeah. And Gianpaolo is asking, since we are there, do you have experts of open source development in the program? Open source, yes. Actually, we are working with one of the leading open source experts, Paulo Crescentos. He co-founded one of Portugal's biggest Linux distribution. It's called Caixa Mágica, and he has been one of the biggest advocates of Linux and open source in Portugal for the last 15 years or so. Okay, so guys, we're now just over the crossing line, and I think we have almost all questions, at least the ones that we have here, have been answered to. So thanks a lot from our side for this hangout and this conversation. It was really, really interesting to have this opportunity to hear people that usually we don't hear that often, or we don't meet face to face before applying to the program, or even after applying to the program, because it's a very black box kind of process. Thanks also for the messages you're passing by. If you want to have like final words, I'll be happy to hear what you have to say.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. And don't forget, this will also be available over YouTube for further reference in case you want to listen to any specific question and answer we have here. We might be able to do another one in next week or so. So, bye-bye, and see
awesome.
You
Thank you again.
for playing with us.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Sebastian.
Bye, guys. Thanks a lot.
Your application.
Have a good one, though.
Ok, obrigado.